you are the queen of career pivot?
First of all, going into this, I knew, Lord, here we go. Josh is like my friend in real life, but let me catch you up on some of the things we have going on. Yeah. So I started having resentment for work. I almost tricked myself into believing I didn't want marriage and I didn't want kids because I just didn't see how it fit into my life.
Dating, not even as an entrepreneur. The laugh. Like, I want to date you first before I try to sleep with you. I'm not going to just give you this discount so you can just, hit it and go.
I don't like the U.S. I'm sorry, I don't want to be shady. I started My Happy Flo in partnership with a friend, and I wanted to share that spotlight with someone. And so when it didn't work out, that was the first hurdle. If I knew this was ahead of me, I would not have started the brand.
Now that you're on the other side of it, though, would you have still started it?
Well, I'll say this.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of And This. If you're just now tuning in, I am your host, Jasmine Bowdry. I'm so excited for the guest that we have today. She has made several career pivots successfully. She is the founder of My Happy Flo, which are plant-based vitamins that help to support healthy and pain-free periods. I am an avid user. I am excited to welcome to And This, Necole Kane. Hey, Necole.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Congratulations on the podcast.
Thank you, girl. Thank you. So we've known each other for a few years. We first met during the My Leak retreat, the My Taught You retreat. You were a speaker there. And it's actually when you were going through your shift of just being acquired, with Exo Necole just being acquired, and just like how that was going and all the things that actually like led up to that acquisition. And then we both moved to Atlanta around the same time. So we both were kind of navigating the transition of being in this new space, in this new city. And have just, developed and kept in touch.
You know what my story is how we met.
That's not the same story. Look.
I don't think you. I mean, I think you might have remembered meet me at my Leech retreat, but I don't remember.
Oh, girl,
but I do remember you came to pajamas and lipstick, and I think you gave me a gift from your boutique. And then you came up to me again at my Leech retreat. So like Jasmine is a hustler. She's going. Like, you were new to Atlanta, but you were making sure you got your
I was getting that product out.
You got your product out, and then you like followed up, and you saw me at my Leech retreat and followed up on that. And so once I saw you at my Leech retreat, I remember a few weeks later we had something we were filming for Exo Necole, and you were like the first person that came to mind, and so we filmed.
That's exactly right.
So it's almost like you kept putting yourself visible in front of me. And so you were first person that came to mind when the opportunity came up.
Yes, because we did the thing with Toyota. Shortly after that. You are so right. You so right. I'm like, we met at this retreat.
Yeah.
And then we both were just in Atlanta.
I seen Jasmine on the hustle.
That's what it was. Yes. So your IG bio says that you are the queen of career pivots. Now you have My Happy Flo, but I would love to just chat about some of the pivots that came before that with Exo Necole, with Necole Bitchie, and how you like transitioned into each of those different pivots.
Well, I think the biggest pivot, I don't know, because I feel like this is a big pivot too, to be honest. But I think the one that everyone saw was my pivot from Necole Bitchie to Exo Necole, because at the time, I'm a gossip blogger, one of the top gossip bloggers.
Yeah.
In the world. And, I was the source. Like when something happened, people were like, I got to go to NecoleBitchie.com. Like no matter what happens, I'm going to get all the tea. I'm not going to get bits and pieces. And so I think I really did a good job of branding the site as a place you're really going to get a breakdown of everything that's going on when it happens. I decided I didn't really, I did it for 7 years and just decided that's not what I wanted my life purpose to be. And I felt like I was living my life as a spectator to other people's lives versus actually living my life. And I was like, there has to be something bigger out there. And at the time, I think I was in an airport and I remember looking at covers of magazines. And at the time, there were no women on the covers that look like me. It's changed a lot over the years. Black women became popping, but at some point we weren't on covers like that. And I also wanted to know, where would my like 16 or 18 or even 21-year-old cousin go to talk about things other than celebrity gossip? Where would they go to talk about relationships, dating, like mental health, vagina health, vaginal health? And I didn't see anything. Like Essence was skewing kind of like 35 and up at the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, who's targeting that 18 to 35-year-old minority woman? So that's what really prompted the idea to launch XO Necole, like almost like a younger, fresher Essence, is what I was going for, blended with a Black, like Cosmo magazine, like blending those two concepts together. And so, yeah, that's how I transitioned from Necole Bitchie to XO Necole. And then, you know, the transition or the pivot into hormone health mainly came from signing a non-compete, which at the time non-competes were a thing. I think a law just got passed.
Yeah.
But I had a non-compete when I sold XO Necole 2 years after launching it and to Will Packer Media. And in the contract, I couldn't create another brand that was like a competing brand. But XO Necole covers so many verticals. In fact, so if I did a relationship site, it's feel like it was competing or wellness. Like we had way too many. So it kind of took me out of media, which is fine because I feel like when it's like when your purpose and something is up, God kind of moves you anyway. So it kind of like forced me to move into another area. And that was hormone health and holistic nutrition. And of course, vitamins and supplements, which I'm doing now.
And how has this new transition been for you? Because you went from, you know, media and blog to now product based, which is a completely different game. Completely. I think we've had conversations about that. You're like, girl, this product business ain't no joke.
Yeah. I will say I absolutely love my life now. I love my life. Like I'm so in love with my life. But the 3 years leading up to this, like I just hit my 3-year anniversary in April. But those first 3 years were horrific. You know, so I do feel like I'm in a place where like, even though I'm always talking about how I love where I am, I love the balance in my life and I don't work a lot of hours, I can't graze over the fact that those first 3 years were very hard.
Like you worked to the balance that you have now.
Exactly.
You worked for that.
Exactly. Because I don't want anyone to get into it thinking, oh, I'm gonna feel free like her. Those first 3 years was hard.
Talk a little bit about that. Like what were those first 3 years of creating a new product brand and then something as important as this? Because we, you know, as Black women, we are attacked with fibroids and painful periods. And so not only going into the wellness space, but something that's so important to our community.
Yeah. So first of all, going into this, I knew, Lord, here we go.
Let's get the tissue.
I know. But I knew I didn't.
It is.
And it's I'm trying to get okay with, I think I spent a lot of my life not knowing how to grieve. Losing my parents very early, and I don't think anyone saw me cry or process, but we didn't have the tools or the words to describe what we were feeling. And so I never got to grieve my parents passing or anything like that. So I think I cried so much because it's like, it's okay. It's okay to feel.
Yeah,
it's okay to be.
Release also.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm crying through every interview, but I'm telling myself now, like, it's okay.
It's
like,
okay to
feel
cry.
what. And that's another thing about coming out of celebrity gossip. I felt like when I was in entertainment, I know this has nothing to do with the question, I was go all the time and I was almost numb. Like I didn't feel anything.
Because you probably had to not feel. Just being in that space.
You're just going.
Yeah.
You're not sitting and processing anything. You're not. And so now I'm in a space where
I get to, like, I feel everything now that I'm in a new space in my life. And it's I feel like it's also beautiful to be able to feel the things. But
because especially if you haven't ever allowed yourself to feel.
Oh, like, so I didn't even know what, now I'm like, okay, this is grief. It's fine. You're sad over this, and it's okay. But when I launched My Happy Flo, first of all, I think with Necole Bitchie, and I was thinking about this in the car coming over here, so it's fresh. I feel like after I launched Exo Necole and how much I worked between two brands, I started having resentment for work. Mm-hmm. Like, it's taken me away from having the family I want. I want to be married. I want to have kids. But these businesses are taking me away from, like, what I truly desire in my life. And I think I almost tricked myself into believing I didn't want marriage and I didn't want kids because I just didn't see how it fit into my life. So when I had the idea for My Happy Flo, I knew I didn't want to run another brand as a solo founder because I'm like, I felt like I was almost pushing the clock back again. Yeah. And so, I started My Happy Flo in partnership with a friend, and I romanticized us growing this brand and being on magazine covers together and like, just being known. I knew this was going to be a powerful brand that made a big impact, and I wanted to share that spotlight with someone. And so when it didn't work out, that was the first hurdle, launching a brand under partnership, not doing due diligence in terms of get your operating agreement together. If you ever go in partnership for anything, there needs to be an agreement. You need to know like who's going to be doing what, like who's in charge of what. Yeah, like we crisscrossing and
who was in charge of the girls.
We both trying to talk to the manufacturer. We both trying to do marketing, or we're both trying to and really outline what those duties and those titles are and what the percentages are. And don't talk about percentages over a handshake. No, this need to be in writing. And what happens if someone leaves the company, or what happens if someone passes away? You might end up with somebody's husband as your business partner if you don't really work out the details of what this partnership looks like. And so that, it didn't last long at all. Like we didn't even make it to the product launching for us to when we parted ways. And then I was dealing with 3 years of just legal trying to figure that out. And it's hard to grow a brand when you don't know if you're going to have to change the name or am I going to have to start all over and register a new business? And it's hard to even fall in love with this brand. I couldn't attach to the idea of it because I didn't even know if it was actually going to be mine. And so that was a big hurdle. At the same time, I'm still at Exo Necole. And I'm not happy there because I'm in the middle of an acquisition, but not feeling fully free in my business anymore, having to run stuff past. So it was just challenging. I did a pre-order for My Happy Flo and I didn't know all the details of how am I going to get this product to the customers? Where am I going to store this product? It was just so much, looking back, I was like, girl, you were crazy.
But you were crazy, but look at it now, though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You thought it was crazy then, but you also were like, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah. And so that first year was just trying to figure out a fulfillment center. I got with a warehouse and then they were losing all, the packages were getting lost, or customers, it would take them 2 to 3 weeks to get their packages. And if it takes that long for them to get their product, especially a period pain product, they're going to go to Amazon where they can get it from someone else in 1 or 2 days. Yep. So I went even a year in switching fulfillment centers. Then I had to switch a manufacturer.
So a lot of shifts in that first year.
Yeah. Then I had to switch banks within the first 3 years. So I spent the first 3 years just it like I said, if I knew this was ahead of me, I would not have started the brand at all.
But where you are now, though, would you have still started it? Like now that you're in this place of gratitude, peace, joy,
Peace,
where
love,
you're like,
joy.
I love my life. I love everything that's happening in my life. Now that you're on the other side of it, though, would you have still started it?
Well, I'll say this. Here's some of the things that I put in place to allow myself to have the balance I want in my life. Because I've now curated a life where a husband can fit in. I don't have to rearrange things, or a baby can fit in and I won't have to rearrange my whole life. But definitely setting up email automations, like investing in email automations for an e-com brand, I feel is like the number one thing people should do. Like people, most of the time they'll go straight for ads, but what's the customer journey, right?
Right.
How are you capturing that customer who on that first visit, they might not be sold yet? How are you still nurturing
So how are you still talking to them?
that welcome flow, right?
Exactly.
Even after they've made the purchase, how
Still
are you still nurturing them so that they'll remember to come back and purchase from you again? And
Stay on
so
top of mind.
yeah, so putting those email automations in place was like huge, and SMS automations, and putting something in place where I feel like when a customer comes to your website, it's borrowed from whoever sent them, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter. They're a borrowed customer until you have their email address.
Yep.
Now you can feel like it's mine because you can still market
interact and
towards
talk.
them.
Yep.
Yeah. So for me, I put a quiz in place probably, was it a year ago? That's made us over 100K. Yeah. In conversions. Yeah. And so
and
now
within that quiz, let's talk a little bit about that. Is it where, hey, this is what I'm experiencing, so this is how often, or is it just educational? Like, hey, this may be what's happening with you in your cycle.
So the quiz is a period health quiz. Like take our 1-minute quiz to see what your symptoms are saying about your overall health. And so they get one of 3 results, whether they have healthy hormone balance, their hormones might need a little more love, or you might need to see a doctor. Those are the 3 results. And when they take the quiz, they get a results page, but they also get emailed the results, but they also get added to our welcome series so that we can still, if they don't make the purchase. And so we just see a lot more conversions coming through the quiz than we do the 15% off pop-up when they come to the website.
And I think with that, for just product-based business owners, it's more for you. It's like, I want to educate you first. Like, I want to date you first before I try to sleep with you.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm not going to just give you this discount so you can just, hit it and go.
Yeah.
Like, I want to actually date you, educate you, nurture you. And then hopefully after you've seen the value, that we've provided, you then want to spend your money with us.
Absolutely. That's the whole concept behind it. And so that has helped a lot. And then launching subscriptions. We have a very high returning customer rate. It might be like 70% right now or something like that. It's very hard to convert repeat customers to subscribers, especially if you're always doing discounts. Because I stay doing like 3 bottle bundle deals, and 2, but I only got 1 product. It's not that many sales I can run. Yeah. Sometimes I'll do a free gift, which is way cheaper than giving a discount sometimes. Because sometimes your gift, your COG for that gift might be $1, right? 50 cents. Versus if you keep giving away $6 and $8 discounts. Yeah. So, the subscribers are actually helping. Now having that consistent month-to-month revenue is helping to maintain the business.
Because it's recurring. Like you can
revenue.
Project and forecast.
But in order to launch subscriptions, I had to have a reliable fulfillment center. I feel like your fulfillment and your warehouse partner is one of the most important relationships you're going to have, because they're the ones getting the product out to your customers in time.
So I spoke about that on a previous episode, sharing like some things that I would have done differently. As you know, I closed my boutique after 7 years. And one of the things I said I would have done was I would have hired somebody because who want to pack these orders? Oh. And so do you think that entrepreneurs like starting out should immediately like get somebody else to do it? Because
Man.
what made you? Because you didn't like you go to
it
your
was
warehouse to help pack
never
orders,
an
but you never
option.
just was like, we gonna keep like I'm about to pack all these from my house.
It
Like
was
you started
never
off
an
with,
option for me to pack from my house. Like if I would have just not launched a business, if that, and only because I knew first I couldn't store all that. So I want to say when I first launched My Happy Flo, I was so confident in a business idea and that there was a market for it that my first inventory order was 5,000 bottles. Like,
I know these gonna sell.
I know they gonna sell.
Who not gonna buy
But
these?
you know why I knew they were gonna sell? We did a pre-order. We only did a pre-order. We opened it up for 1 week, for 7 days, and it did 25,000 in sales. And to be honest, that probably was the biggest sales week I've still to this day ever had. And they don't even know what the product is, right? Yep. They just had to trust that it was going to work. But we did 25,000 in sales in just like a 7-day period, just opening it up for pre-orders. So I knew I will say another smart thing that we did was months before I did the pre-order, I was promoting a period health quiz on Twitter and Instagram. So over a period of time, we had over 2,000 responses of people filling out this period health quiz.
Yeah. So meaning that you had a warm audience.
So 80% of those people
is who purchased.
Well, 80% of those people, probably 90%, if somebody gonna fill out a period health quiz,
right, they're interested.
They probably got painful periods.
Yeah, something's going on.
Right, something going on. Yeah. So that was warm leads versus me trying to like warm up a mailing list that was like, Exo Necole, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, where is this email coming from about this period product?
Right.
But somebody who had already filled out a period health quiz, and the very last question was if there was a product that was all natural that would, take away this period pain, would you be interested in learning more about it or something? So most of them said yes.
Which gave you the confidence to say, I can go invest and order 5,000 bottles of this. Because I know that there are people that actually need this.
Yes, absolutely. And so when I go back and say that was never an option, I'm not storing 5,000 bottles in y'all still live in a 1-bedroom. And I'm not embarrassed to say that. I used to be embarrassed by it. But at the end of the day, I knew I was going to go through a transition at some point from Exo Necole. And I never wanted to create a lifestyle that would tie me to something that no longer served me because I needed the money to maintain that lifestyle. Yep. And so I'm like, let me get this 1-bedroom apartment. We're going to ride this out until I figure out what life is going to look like on the other side. And so, no, we're not putting all this product in a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not shipping. And no, I'm not I hate going to USPS. I go to UPS almost every day, but I don't like the USPS. I'm sorry, I don't want to be shady. We love USPS, but I mainly, but I don't like going to the post office. It's not an enjoyable experience for me. Yeah. And so I knew I didn't want to do that every day. And I feel like it takes you away from marketing and the important stuff like customer service and
your zone of genius, right? I'm spending hours packing and shipping when those hours I can outsource this. And those hours can be used to something that's going to actually continue to help grow the business.
And to be honest, my printer is always breaking. So it wouldn't have worked out anyway. Like, I've never found a reliable printer. I haven't.
All odds were against the packing and the shipping.
Are you a product-based business owner that's ready to scale? I've compiled my industry experience and knowledge into bite-sized resources that you can access anytime, anywhere at jasmineboundary.shop. You'll get actionable insight, advanced strategies, and in-depth knowledge on how to grow your product-based business. Visit jasmineboundary.shop today and let's take your brand to the next level. Now, back to the episode.
So I want to go back to something that you mentioned, and I feel like we've had conversations about this. Dating, not even as an entrepreneur. The laugh. Girl. Not even dating as an entrepreneur, but I would say dating as a successful entrepreneur, dating as a multi-passionate woman who loves to explore and try new things, but also, I put myself in there as well. We ain't no spring chickens. We look damn good, but we not, we are.
She lying. I'm a spring chicken.
She
I don't know what you
chicken. We're grown.
I don't know what she's talking about.
That. You know, we're grown. We're grown.
Yeah,
we're
okay,
grown
absolutely.
women. You know, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not sharing our age, but we're grown.
Okay.
And so, have you ever felt throughout this journey that, damn, maybe love just isn't in the cards for me?
No. I knew I had to create space for it. Like, I knew it was on me to create space for it versus the circumstance. And that's why, like, when you sit down, I talk about this a lot, but I think I've been very privileged to have what is called, like, people have therapists. I have a soul coach, and she really helped me figure out what I wanted my life to look like 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And I realized very quickly that the way I was growing My Happy Flo was, I was almost about to get back on the hamster wheel of the same things I was doing in my previous company, trying to run it the same way.
Yeah.
But that didn't give me space for relationships, even personal development. And so once I realized where I wanted to be, I had to shift my business real quick. Like, and that's why I keep my team very lean too. Like, a lot of my stress came from just hiring too many damn people and then micromanaging them. Right?
Because that's what people don't talk about. It's like we create these businesses, right? We have this passion, we have this innovative idea, but then you got to hire these damn people.
Yeah.
And then either people that just suck.
Yeah.
You know, at what they do. Or you're like, now I have to be more of this leader and train and micromanage people. And that's taking me away from the parts I actually love.
Absolutely.
Of running the business.
And I just feel like that, like, leading isn't necessarily my zone of genius. Being a visionary is. And so I knew, like, as the business grows, even now when I decide to raise money, I know, like, one day I won't be, somebody's going to be a CEO. It won't be me. You know, there'll be a COO in there.
But you're very clear on that also.
I'm very clear. Like, and so when you're very clear, you move in your business differently. And so, like, right now, like I said, the team is super lean. Instead of hiring in-house right now with where we are, I work with a lot of agencies. And they have the teams, right? And they normally have their processes streamlined. If they say they're going to deliver something to me by a certain date, I normally get it by that certain date. I think when you start hiring people and their livelihood is based on the salary you giving them, it's a different level of stress that's put on your life. And then you see them and they get married and they having kids. And like when I was at Necole, all the, you know, girls that work for me, they all had
but I'm over here
right. They were all in relationships and they all had like,
I don't have no time.
But I'm looking and then there's a little resentment in me as the boss and the leader. Why do I have to work through weekends? Why am I'm always working, but everybody else seems to have this life that they're able to live? And it's no fault to them. It's just I need to do my restructure my business differently or hire differently. But which I want to say, I could have prevented that by at XO. I could have definitely brought in a lot of people that knew more than me, right? But I was dealing with abandonment wound where I was scared something was going to get taken from me. And so it prevented me from really hiring a lot of people around me that could do the jobs that I was doing because I didn't want to be replaceable. Wow. Yeah. And so like through like just therapy and just my personal work, I realized that as well. Like there was a point where I had chaos at Necole and I have chaos in My Happy Flo, you know, because of the former business partnership. So it's a time where you sit back and you look at yourself like, how am I playing a part in this chaos in all my businesses? And so that's where all that like trauma and healing work comes in. And you start getting a different perspective. Like, I really could have handled that better.
So when you say you've restructured like your business in a way that allows for relationships, you know, allows a husband to come in, allows a child to come in. What does some of that look like? How have you now created that space and restructured your business?
Well, first of all, I'm working at my own pace. I'm not chasing $1 million weekends. $1 million Black Friday weekends, and I'm not chasing these outrageous sales goals just to keep up with someone that has raised $5 or $10 million. Like, I'm very real with myself on what type of growth we can do while we're bootstrapping and self-funded. I'm not like trying to get to a finish line too fast. And if I was, I would have raised money by now.
Yeah.
But I'm still, we're still 100% self-funded. And so it's given me the opportunity to build my life out the way I need to before I take on that first investment dollar. I want to make sure like I'm solid in the life I want to have.
Yeah.
And what team I would have to put in place once I got those investment dollars so that I could still have a life outside of my business. So I think that was like before I was in the rat race, like even at X and Necole, I still was in a competitive mindset. Like, what everybody else doing? Well, let's try to do it three or four times bigger. Yeah. I remember in 2019, I launched Pajamas and Lipstick. I launched Elevate Her. I launched a podcast. Like, girl, you can't get me to work that hard anymore.
Like, get somebody else. Not doing it.
So, yeah, just being okay with, I'm 3 years in, but I'm happy with where I am 3 years in versus feeling like I need to be 10 years. I'm not comparing myself to, say, I've been following the Lip Bar journey forever. She's 10 years plus in.
Yep.
And she's just now getting investment dollars or whatever, maybe on year 9 or 8, right?
Yep.
But sometimes we think we want to jump straight in something and compete or have the same thing someone else has that has put 10 years in the game. Exactly. It's crazy. Like, just enjoy the process.
Right. Right. So overall, like, what's the goal for My Happy Flo? Like, do you eventually want to expand, not only going into like retail distribution, but expanding from just having the vitamins?
Yeah, I want to expand our product line, especially with other vitamins that target because we have a lot of different hormones. You know, estrogen is just one of them, but that target different things that we deal with as women, like our sleep, our mood, vaginal health, PCOS, menopause, perimenopause, multivitamins, prenatals.
Yeah, so many things.
So many things. So definitely a lot of vitamins geared towards women's health that people can bundle. But also get into other, like you said, what did V. Dixon tell me? If you're going to do this thing, take up the aisles.
Listen.
You know what I mean?
I shared that in a different episode. I'm like, if you're going to be a product brand, try to take it all the way.
Take up the aisles. Take up the aisles in Target. And so, yes, I'm super excited about the growth right now. So we're in year 3. We haven't talked in a while, Jasmine. Jasmine is like my friend in real life, but let me catch you up on some of the things we have going on. Yeah.
What's going on?
We have a new website that's launching tomorrow, actually. I'm really excited about it. It was a big investment, probably one of the biggest investments outside of the other thing I'm about to tell you about. But I felt like it was time to look like legit on the internet. I feel like this year is the year we're going to raise money later on in the year. So we have a new website launching. We also are starting clinical trials, the recruiting for our clinical trials next week. That will position us as one of the only supplement brands that really been clinically tested to alleviate heavy flows and debilitating period pain and symptoms associated with fibroids. Most supplements are kind of targeting PMS symptoms, but we wanted to go a little deeper and prove that we do alleviate heavy flows, and we also help combat anemia. So the participants will be getting blood work and testing their vitamin D and iron levels at the beginning and the end of the trial. And it's going to run 3 months. I want to say I'll be one of the only Black women-owned brands that has a clinically tested product. Wow. But it was just important for me to just have that extra seal of approval to say, like, I stand by this 100%. So much that, like, clinical trials is not cheap. And to be able to do it without raising money is just, incredible. And then we just
Absolutely.
got HSA, FSA eligible for people who have, you know, flexible spending accounts and those type of things tied to their benefits.
Wow.
So yeah,
amazing.
you can check out at My Happy Flo with your HSA, FSA card, or you can apply on the website for a letter of medical necessity. Yeah.
That's so dope. Like I recently got I've known I've had fibroids, and I've literally been diagnosed with anemia since I was 17.
Yeah.
Based on heavy
Heavy
cycles.
flows. Yep.
And as I haven't even shared this yet, but as I've been going through this fertility journey, and doing all of this different testing, my fertility doctor, she's based here in Atlanta, Black woman, and she's like, we need to understand like what's going on with the anemia first. Like, so she's running all these tests, so she comes back like your vitamin D is low, your hemoglobin is at 7 point something, and we can't move forward with this fertility until we get this checked, because I'm not going to be able to like retrieve your eggs or any type of surgery until we figure this out. And so I had to get an MRI on like my pelvic area, and you know, when I get the results back, she's like, so you have like over 20 plus fibroids.
Insane.
And
yeah.
I was like,
wow.
huh?
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, yeah, I knew I had fibroids because it's just common in Black women. But I was
Yeah.
like, you said how many?
Yeah.
And she's like, so every month you're just hemorrhaging ridiculously because all of these fibroids. And so I think that that's super important that you're taking that to the next step, like beyond just, we're not just a basic vitamin, but things that are going to help, you know, combat your fibroids and anemia and just all these things that we as Black women deal with, because I know other women deal with it, but we tend to deal with these the most.
Yeah. And I just kept just some of the customer testimonials were just mind blowing to me. And I just wanted that, like, let's go in a lab and actually have a controlled study on this. Like, I was just at an event the other day, and this girl runs up to me and she's got a phone and a picture of a little boy on it. She runs up to me like, you changed my life. And she's showing me the, you know, her son, which is about to turn 2. And she said, you know, in August 2022, you know, I had fibroids, I'm having fertility issues, and I started My Happy Flo. And she said by October 2022, I was pregnant. She said, and I was actually in the fertility clinic getting an initial set of testing when they came to me and said, you can go home now.
Wow.
You're pregnant. That's how she told the story. And it was just like, you know, so you hear all those stories and you're just like, wow, this is really, and meanwhile, I'm not pushing the product or the brand as much as I could, because I'm like, I want a personal life, right? Like, and so you know, I've like, she's probably maybe the 15th or 20th customer I know by face that came to me or emailed in and said, like, I had PCOS. I thought I could never get pregnant. You know, I had an ectopic, is that what it's called? When you lose a tube pregnancy, and I still was able to get pregnant. Thank you so much. And so again, it's challenging because I know this brand needs to get in so many more people's hands, but I also want my balance.
But you also want the balance.
Exactly.
Right? It's like you
Because
want
I
to
don't want
grow.
to give up my opportunity to experience the babies and the family and the wedding and the husband,
So how
because
are you
I'm pushing
navigating
so
that?
hard.
How are you? Because, you know, considering raising capital like that, you're pitching all the time. You are putting together decks. You having to talk to probably a majority of people that don't look like you and aren't necessarily experiencing what you know your customers and your ideal customers are experiencing. But at the same time, you like, ring?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, I want my
your own.
I honestly, it's funny because the way God works, like, he allowed me to be able to afford this clinical trials and this new website, you know, and I thought those were things I would need money for. I will say one of the shifts that I had in my business that was life-changing for us, I feel, is when we decided to change banks earlier in the year. And I always heard people talking about have a good relationship with your banks, but I've I've been with banks and like I've walked in and talked to them, but I felt like they weren't invested like that.
Yeah.
So I switched from, I might as well say the bank names, whatever. I was with Bank of America for 3 years, and I just felt like they weren't increasing our credit line. Yeah. They weren't like giving us any extra lines of credits or any loans. I kept being denied for loans, and I'm like, you know what? I got something for y'all. Wait till January 1st.
I'm out of here.
I'm switching my money. So I went to Chase.
Okay.
I opened a bank account, and that day I talked to a banker, a white guy named Brian. That week, he gave me access to over 6 figures in capital through a credit card and line of credit. And then he would but he was calling me a lot too. And I never had a banker calling me like this. I'm like, I'd be on the phone with my sister. Wait, Brian's on the line. Let me call you back. And so then he reached out to invite me to an event like 3 months later, but he also was checking in to see how the business was going. I outlined all the positive stuff we were able to do with the help he gave me. And I said, but we need more money. He got me access to some more. He raised the line of credit, got me even more money under the line of credit. And so I'm like, well, if that's the cheat code, having a great banker and a great, and I feel like he's really invested in my business doing well. And that changed the game for me. I got an SBA 7A loan. A lot of people, when you're under 3 years in business, a lot of loans you get as a business owner is very predatory. They give you $100K, you might have to pay back $125.
Interest rates.
Yeah, you might have to pay back $125, but you also have to pay that $125 back in 12 months. Yep. So if you divide that, you're paying what, $10,000, $15,000 back to a loan. SBA 7A loan. If I got a 6-figure 100K loan, I'm paying that back over 10 years. Yeah. That's a different, that opened up your cash flow.
Which allows you to have cash flow. Exactly.
Yeah. So then you could start folding all those crazy loans you took before. Yep. And so it's been like little blessings that are happening left and right. And I'm like, okay, God, this just your sign. You still got me. So yeah, that's how I'm. But what was your question? I don't think I fully answered it.
But I think you did, though, because I think what you're basically saying is, God ain't forgot about me. Yeah, and he's going to continue to bless me, and I'm going to continue to have faith that he will bless these other desires of my heart.
My hope is that I don't have to go out there pitching like crazy, that the new website, the PR release going out after the clinical trials are done and all that other stuff, it gives us enough momentum, enough press and enough eyeballs on us that people are actually coming and knocking on our door. Like, how can I invest in this? I'd be crazy not to invest in this right now before it gets bigger. So I'm putting that out there to God. I hope that I'm growing this brand in such an authentic way that I don't have to go out there and get a million no's and knock down doors and try to convince people what we're doing, because they're looking at it and they're actually seeing how powerful and impactful it is.
And I'm going to touch and agree. Do you have an aha moment of where you feel you and the business, it's like truly where you want it to be? Or are you like, I just know that there's just so much more?
I feel like with my first 2 companies, I didn't know where I was going. It's almost like getting in an Uber and saying, I want to go to California, but you ain't got no damn address. Where are we going in California? Are we going to we going to San Francisco? Are we going to LA? Like, where we going? Like, what's that? And so I think when you're navigating in that space, you're just on autopilot to a destination that you never chose. And so I think growing My Happy Flo is so much different because I just know, like, if I'm going to take investment money, then that might mean I'm going to exit, get my brand acquired or go public. And how many people are going public? So knowing that, I think I won't say I'm detached from my brand, but I don't have the type of attachment that's going to wreck me and have me crying in interviews because I had to sell my brand, a few years ago, because I'm being real about what that looks like if I want to make this a worldwide product that women all over the world are taking. not only this product, but a suite of products. Like if I want to have a legacy that's bigger than me, that can go on beyond me, what that looks like. And so I'm not as emotionally tied to it as I was prior brands. And I think I was so blended in the community of, you came to pajamas and lipstick, and then I had Exo Tribe. You was a part of Exo Tribe, like in the app. So I was so in the community. Yeah. Now I'm not even, I don't show my face a lot on the My Happy Flo Instagram. I don't show my face a lot in our email newsletters. Yeah. There's times where someone just commented under my Instagram yesterday, like, oh, wow, this is your brand? I saw this brand, but I didn't know it was owned by you. And I love hearing that because I want the product to speak for itself and not for people to think it's popular just because some former gossip blogger launched it. And honestly, or they think it's a licensing deal and someone is in the background handling all the logistics and I'm just being the face. That's not that at all. I've built this brand from the ground up. I've changed the formula 4 times, from customer feedback. And I'm in the everything right now. And so, yeah.
So, and this is all about being multi-passionate, multi-dimensional, and allowing yourself to be those things, not being put in a box, being curious, allowing yourself to take risk, and not doing everything that society or your mama, your family may have expected you to do. And so when you think of the words "and this," what comes to mind? So you can pause.
What comes to mind when you think of it for yourself, Jasmine?
Oh, not the question back on the question. So for me, it is, I am all of these things. I am a retail expert. I am a stylist. I am going to be somebody's mama. I am going to be somebody's wife. I am a friend. I am a daughter. Like I am all of these things. And if I choose to be this, or this in another season of my life, then that's okay as well. Like, I don't think that there's not a period for me. It's a comma.
Okay. Yeah. I guess what does "and this" mean to me? I'm going to say, and this is God's promise that I've given you this calling and this purpose, and then those contracts were up and I gave you another one, and you were obedient and I gave you another one, but I'm also going to look out for you. Like you said, you're going to be a mom, you're going to be a wife, you're going to have this amazing career that you feel like you're living in such a huge purpose, and you're just going to be so full in your life. And yeah.
I love that. Guys, this episode has been so fulfilling, so heartwarming. I mean, we've talked about business. We've talked about navigating different pivots throughout your career and your business, allowing for space for relationships and love to enter in. I mean, we have covered literally everything in this episode with Necole. So Necole, I want to thank you so much for being here, for being a part, and just truly sharing your journey with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was such an amazing time and conversation.
Thank you.
And we got a lot of catching up to do, obviously.
Clearly. I'm like, wait, what's going on? And with that being said, I'll see you on the next episode of And This.